Okay, I'm doing another episode of Nerds with Badges, and I wanted to do, somebody gave me this idea, and it's something I thought about doing like a question and answer session to kind of get people familiar with my concept. So I'm here in Orlando, Florida, and I got my mother as the guinea pig for I meant the assistant for my for this particular concept. So she's gonna ask me some questions about DragonManx, the comic book that this Kickstarter campaign is all about, and as you can see, I'm in the spirit doing the holiday thing, the orange and all that. But anyway, so she's gonna ask me some questions about my concept, about the DragonManx concept comic book, and hopefully that will help y'all that are watching get a better idea of this character, DragonManx, aka Goyangi Armstrong, and what makes him tick. So when you're ready, we can begin.
Okay. Who is Goyangi Armstrong?
Goyangi Armstrong is a superhero who kind of retired years ago because his powers just kind of started messing up. They don't really work that well anymore. So he just kind of like, said it was a really bad situation where he was trying to save some people and something went wrong and people got hurt. So Dragon Manx was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So he moves to Detroit, Michigan, to just kind of start all over again and ends up getting caught up in supernatural stuff anyway.
Okay. So, what are his mystical abilities?
Well, that's the interesting thing. Dragon Manx he's a demigod. I know the demigod like Hercules. Hercules' mother was human, and his father was Zeus, the god, the king of all the gods,
Yes.
supposedly.
Yes.
So he's a halfling. So Dragon Manx's mother and father were basically possessed by the Egyptian gods Anubis and Bastet in the where they were making whoopee. So Dragon Manx is the bird. Dragon Manx was born with different properties. So he has a connection with animals, which comes from his mother, the cat goddess Bastet. So he can talk to animals.
Oh,
He can
okay.
feel what they're feeling. They can feel he's feeling. And his father Anubis. I mean, you familiar with Egyptian stuff, right?
Yes.
You've seen the statues that they have of the dog with
Yes.
but that's Anubis.
Oh,
Anubis was supposed to be the king of the underworld. So when people died, he comes and takes you there.
oh,
According, that's what the Egyptians, So Anubis, because he's like a spirit, Goyangi can see spirits. He can make them do what he wants them to do,
okay.
and he can bring people back to life. He's not really supposed to do that because they feel like that's people supposed to just die. You're not supposed, but he does it anyway. Kind of gets him in trouble sometimes,
Okay.
and he's got these two swords. Swords. They're called shadow sabers. They're like black swords that can fly and stuff. Yeah.
What made his abilities become unstable?
Um, well, I feel like I'm giving away spoilers, but I kind of talked about this before. Um, Dragon Manx's powers are changing because you know how with a computer you have to update it with new software to let it do new things. So that's what's happened to his powers because one day Dragon Manx gonna have to fight some special, powerful character, and so his powers are just fixing himself so he'll be ready.
Okay.
Yeah, but he thought he was losing his powers, but he's not. They just changing.
So, who is Ernest?
Ernest. Ernest is Dragon Manx's on off on again boyfriend sort of. On off on again. Yeah, that they kind of like each other, but they know they got to move on, but they still have that connection. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And he's a vampire. Yeah, he's a vampire.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a vampire he's struggling. He's a new vampire, so he's trying to get used to being a vampire. So he has trouble being around people because he wants to eat them whenever he's around people.
Oh,
So yeah, so Dragon Mace is trying to help him deal with that.
okay.
Okay.
So he has a problem.
Yes, he has a problem.
Okay. Who are Dacare?
Decaveric.
The Caverick, I'm sorry, and Thaddeus.
Decaveric and Thaddeus are their brothers. They're children, the children of actually well Dracula's kids. Dracula's got a lot of kids. Dracula's kind of a hoe when he was younger.
Oh,
So so Decavric's mother's a werewolf. So he's got like weird powers. It's a kind of combination. Thaddeus is a vampire, but Thaddeus is like he's got issues because he wants to be a movie star. But vampires they don't photograph, so
okay.
you get as a problem. You can't really be in a movie if they try to take a video of you and there's like nothing there but your shirt and your glasses like levitating
Oh,
because you don't they don't show up on camera.
oh.
Yeah, so he kind of works in the background behind the scenes, but he really wants to be a star. But it's kind of sad. Yeah, to give up on that dream.
So who is Philip?
Philip is another one of DragonManx's romantic uh, uh, persons of interest. Things didn't really work out, but Philip ends up becoming like his own hero. You know, he kind of like goes on his own journey of discovery. And it's my stepfather over there asleep. Don't have him on camera, but I probably should. No, I'm just
No.
kidding. Yeah, Philip uh, was a superhero kind of reluctantly. Then he lost his powers. Now he's like a cop. So he went full. His life kind of went full circle. But you'll see him in more stories.
Okay, so who's Asiana?
Oxiana was homeless. She was a homeless girl running around the streets, and she ended up becoming a hero. She was basically recruited by Sons of Legend, which is an organization that DragonManx works for. And
Okay.
yeah, they kind of gave her a chance to like turn her life around because when they met her, she was going through trash cans looking for food.
Oh,
Yeah, she has like abilities like psychic. She can read your mind and stuff,
mm,
and she can't really control it, but you know, she just kind of like learned to make peace with it, learn how to meditate and stuff. She's another character who had a really good story arc. Her life just, you know, she went through a period of, you know,
mhm.
discovery and, you know, becoming a better person.
Great. So what makes DragonManx, what brings them, I'm sorry, out of DragonManx out of retirement?
Well, what really brings in my retirement is the comic book I'm working on now. There's these kids that have these abilities. They have like psychic abilities,
Hmm.
and there's an organization that gives these children that have these psychic abilities gives them teddy bears that protect them, the
Hmm.
magic teddy bears. But in the story, something is making the teddy bears attack and kill the kids. So Dragon Manx ends up trying to figure out what the hell's going on, why, who's doing it, and it's a monster that's doing it.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So how did Nadam
You're done.
Nadam
Mhm.
become DragonManx mentor?
Well, there was a period in Dragon Manx's life where he was losing control of his animal. Because remember, I told you he had like animal connections. He could feel when animals are feeling. Well, he's kind of like an animal himself in a way.
Hmm,
So,
DragonManx. Yeah.
so
Okay.
he, you know, because his mother is Bastet, the cat goddess.
Hmm.
You know, like when he gets mad, his eyes they get like a cat. And he's
Okay.
got like fingernails like a cat, claws.
Mm. Hmm.
And when he sometimes when he loses his temper, well, in the past, he basically went off and well lost control, and he's running around the city like a wild animal. And the Dun kind of helped him.
So who is
And the
Captain?
Dun is a vampire, by the way. I forgot to mention that he's a
Oh,
vampire.
Nadam is
And
a
then, yeah, he's a
vampire.
very he's a very old vampire, but he trains people that have problems with their abilities and other vampires. The Dumbs was banished. He can't leave Detroit, Michigan,
Oh,
ever
oh,
because a witch that he did wrong. She put a spell on him, so tried to leave Detroit. He can't do it. Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh,
Spurn girlfriend kind of thing.
oh my. Okay. So who is Captain Liberia? Liberia. I'm sorry, Liberia.
I feel like Goyangi's starting to feel like a very free person. What is the word of I don't want to say hoe, but he there's another person from Dragon Manx's past that had a
Hmm.
relationship with, but Captain Liberia was kind of the DL. You've heard the term DL,
Hmm.
struggling with his sexuality, trying to make because Liberia's got like a family, he's got like kids and stuff. So he's you know he's got an image he's got to protect and everything, but he's you know he's bi and he's a superhero. Like Captain Liberia is kind of like the Superman of my universe. He's a very powerful character. His father is an African god named Chenga, the god of thunder, African, and his wife was a cop. She was a black cop.
Oh,
So Captain Liberia is like Hercules. He's a demigod, a hybrid.
okay. So why do Dragonmanx and Captain Liberia hate each other?
Well, Captain Liberia feels that Dragon Manx sometimes goes too far, you know, fighting bad guys and stuff. I mean, Dragon Manx ain't gonna come to like arrest you if you are acting too crazy and you put people's lives at risk. He's coming to take you out. And
Okay.
Captain Liberia feels like, you know, we can't be executioners, you know. And
Okay.
Dragon Manx is like, you know, that guy was had bombs strapped to him and he was shooting people, you know, like when we just go in there and talk to him about, you know, sing Kumbaya, you know,
Hmm.
but you know, Yeah.
Okay.
So they kind of had issues because of that. And they kind of had a falling out.
Okay. Okay. So who's Ira?
Ira is the surrogate father of DragonManx.
Mm-hmm.
Surrogate father. He runs the organization. He's like the liaison
Mm-hmm.
between the people.
Liaison,
Liaison. Yeah, I can never say that word right.
okay.
He's a liaison between the U.S. government, well, the not the I want to say the United Nations. They have an organization that polices people that have powers. Like if you have powers, you got to go register with them. They can help you and stuff. So he's the person that will come and talk to you and then go back to them and make sure that you on the straight and narrow and just kind of keep you from going too far. So if you are a person with powers, you know Ira probably,
Hmm.
but Ira's pretty connected. So you don't want to get on his bad side. It's pretty nice, low key kind of guy, but he knows a lot of people. And
So who is Mr. Chicklet?
Mr. Chickless is a clown.
Oh, sounds like it in his name.
Yeah, but it's not. There's really nothing funny about a homicidal clown who can do anything. I
Oh,
mean, literally has the power to do anything. But
oh,
he possesses people.
oh.
People that like, say somebody beat you up and gave you a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
He like give you a chance to get even
Mm-hmm.
with the people, and he take over your body and stuff.
Oh,
But your body eventually like dies. So that's the
so you
problem.
don't want to.
You don't want to
So
mess with him because Dragon Manx ends up having to fight him. He's like one of Dragon Manx's like probably the worst enemy.
so what is the agenda?
Agenda is an organization that I was telling you that IRA deals with people that have powers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the organization. It's called Agenda.
Oh,
Yeah, Agenda.
interesting.
Yeah, IRA was based. I gotta want to say this real quick. I love the Binding Woman and $6 Million Man, right? Just love
Yes.
those shows.
Yes.
Do you remember Oscar Goldman?
Yes, I do remember Oscar
He
Goldman.
died a few years ago, the actor, but they were trying to do a $6 Million Man movie, and it's supposed to be happening. But Oscar Goldman was like the person that would come and give them their assignments.
Yes.
But he was really close to Jamie.
Yes.
He's like a
And
dad with her, and
mm-hmm.
and then Steve. Steve with him was like I guess like a father son, because
Yes.
he'd be like, okay, Steve, we need you to go and fight the terrorists, and Steve's like, okay, I'm going out to the club. I'll give you a call back later, and just
Mm-hmm.
hang up on him. I was like, the dial tone, they just had that kind of relationship. I thought it was hilarious. I'll call you in the morning, Oscar. It was nice talking to you. And
Yes.
he's like, but okay, dial tone. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ira's fashioned after that character because I always thought, he was one of the endearing characters. He's actually was one of the few characters on the show. I'll give you a little trivia. Oscar Goldman was one of the few characters who appeared in the $6 Million Man and the Binding Woman,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a big deal because the Binding Woman went to ABC later, I think. So it was very unusual. It still is unusual for two shows to have actors, from different being in different networks
Yes.
appearing. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
lot of paperwork and red tape for people.
So Dragon Manx was originally a web series. What was it like adapting it into a comic?
Well, it's easier, cheaper, because when you're doing movies, you gotta hire the people to film it. You gotta hire somebody to record the sound, and then you gotta hire the actors, and you gotta get food for the actors when they come on set, and you gotta do location scouts, and you gotta pay for all that. When
Mm-hmm.
you're doing a comic book, you just draw it,
True.
and that so it's
Illustration.
a big deal between paying $5,000 for a production to spending a couple of $100 to do a comic book and print it. Well, not even print it if you don't want to, but you save mucho dinero.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of money.
Yes, because you don't have to deal with all that stuff. You just draw it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about paying for special effects, which is expensive. You got to make the guy fly and look like he's flying.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
True. True.
You draw it.
True. So, what is the difference between the web series and the comic?
Well, the obvious, the comic is, it's drawn, and the web series is, the people are, it's like a short film that is just on the internet. That's what a web series is. It's like a podcast. Well, podcast is pretty much the same. I mean, they're almost like short films in a way, I guess. I never thought about it that way. But yeah, the comic books are drawn, and the web series is live action stuff.
So, Dragon Manx started in 2012. What made this the right time to adapt it into a comic?
Well, there's a really I'll give you the what is it, the abridged, the short version.
Yes.
I told you about how I saw the guys drawing the comics, right? Did I tell you that story? Well,
Yes,
Kickstarter, I
yes.
saw the guys, they had the comic about the prison for people that have powers. I thought it was a unique concept. I gave some money to help them with their project. And then I thought to myself, I've been writing all these stories and I wanted to do comic books when I came to LA. Why not hire them to do my books
Yeah.
for me? So, and it was just cheaper, easier, faster to get comic books made than the film stuff because you don't have to worry about all that. Like I was telling you, all the stuff, paying people
Yes.
and all that. And and I'm actually moving more towards novels and comics. I still want to do live action, and I'm working on a cartoon right now. But I don't know, depending on the reception to the live action, I still will want to do it in some capacity. But I can see myself leaning more towards the comics in the future.
So, what made Thunder Zone the right home for DragonManx?
Well, that was I already said that basically. I saw the quality of the artwork that these guys. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, they got like a million comic books out, and they're putting it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, I felt like it was a chance for me to get in on something new. It's not Marvel Comics, it's not DC Comics, it's not Image, it's something new and different.
Yes.
And so I think that connected universe is something. It's a different kind of superhero story because superheroes are, they gotta evolve and be different. It can't be just the bad guy's gonna come and beat everybody up and destroy the world. It's got to be more complex. It's
Right.
a different kind of superhero stories for the current you know
So, what is the URL for the Kickstarter?
That will be in the video. I'll put a link to that in the video.
So, what is the minimum pledge for a digital copy of DragonManx?
Well, the minimum, I would say probably like $10. I would say 10, anywhere 10, $15. I mean, we're flexible. People got to work. It's money.
Yes.
Money. You paid, you work hard, and so you're paying. You're giving me your support. But yeah, I think comic books now go for like on average. Comic books are expensive now. They're like the average price for a comic book now is like $5.
Oh, my.
It used to be 50 cents when I was a kid,
True.
35 cents
True.
now. But I think anywhere from I would say like $10. Just to I think that's a good.
Or they
That's
can
a,
give anything they want to do
yeah, anything that you want.
to the pledge.
Just need your support.
So, what is the minimum pledge for a print copy of DragonManx?
Print copy would be, I would say with probably I would say like $12, somewhere between $12.
Okay.
Because if we're doing the digital between 5 and 10, physical, you said the physical, right?
Well, the minimum pledge for a print copy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I would say, yeah, well, yeah,
Similar.
I would say like, because I hate when I look at comic books and I'm like, oh my God, they're really charging that much. I don't want to be that person, that's doing that. I mean, I understand it takes a lot, you know, I try to be reasonable. I understand. Because like I don't buy as many comics as I would like to because I mean X-Men comics. I think there are 7 different X-Men comic books that are coming out right now, and if I was trying to read all those books and then
Yes.
the Superman and Captain America and all these other, I would be spending $300 a month. So I
Okay.
want to definitely try to keep everything priced in a reasonable way that's reasonable to people.
That does sound reasonable. For anyone on the fence about what makes DragonManx I'm sorry, so should miss the comic. For anyone on the fence about what makes DragonManx so should miss the comic.
Oh,
Should they miss
basically to
it?
support the comic basically is kind of like
Yeah.
technical difficulties. Um, Really, I want to appeal to people that want to see different types of a different kind of superhero stories. So I know recently Martin Scorsese has said something that kind of pissed a lot of people off. Because he said that he didn't really feel like the Marvel comic superheroes movies were. He didn't really think of them as like as films.
Mm-hmm.
Pissed off a lot of people. I mean, because you make movies about gangsters, and that's cool. I mean, people love that.
Yeah.
But that you could have superhero movies that are good quality too. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't want to put people's work down and and just kind of crap all over. I mean, it's not saying that one art form is not viable and this one is. I mean, they
Right.
all everything
Yeah.
a audience.
Yeah. People should be able to form their own opinion.
Yeah, but people, because he who he
Yes.
is, his movies aren't making like $100 billion, whatever. But
Yeah.
he makes good movies. But a lot of people go to the movies, they see the Avengers movies and they cry. They connect with it. It makes them laugh. So it's everybody can have their own there's something for everybody. I mean, man, just because it might not be for you
Yeah,
doesn't mean that it's not.
not for others.
Not yet.
Okay. So I think that wraps up.
Okay. Anything you want to add, or any questions? Anything you want to add? Any suggestions, or
I just think that you've given a good input on what's coming up, and the people should stay tuned.
all right? Well, I guess that does it. I think my mother. I think she did a really good job, and I really look forward to compensating her for her hard work by eating that delicious banana pudding that she's going to be making later, sometime during my visit. And that's all for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, for your time, and please, 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 I need your support. I want to put this comic book out there. Our goal is $2,000. So far, we've already got. I think we're almost. We're halfway there. We got 1,000. I think 1,000 and something. So we still got 26 more days for this campaign. So we're so close, and I really want to put this comic out there. I want to get my universe out there and get everybody uh, acclimated to the types of stories that I'm doing. And I want this comic. It's a comic book that will. I think it'll appeal to everyone. I think there's something for everyone, and I think the time is now for a different kind of comic book for the world to see. I think DragonManx is that. So again, thank you for your time, and I am out of here. And that is my video for day 4 of my DragonManx campaign. Oops, still recording. Kickstarter video. Okay, bye. I'm leaving now for real.